This man is called VJERAN Tomic, and this guy is super fascinating. He is born in Paris in 1968 from Croatian and Bosnian descent. And as soon as he was born, his mother fell sick and couldn't take proper care of him. Then at only 1 year old, they sent him to Bosnia, where he lived with his close relatives such as grandmother, uncles, and aunts. Around the age of 8 years old, he started stealing whatever he liked at the time. And at the age of 11 years old, he came back to Paris to live with his parents. His dad was super violent towards him, and his parents would fight a lot, to the point where he had to occupy himself somehow. He was very lonely and always alone, and his only option was to go outside and do whatever he wanted to do, which is steal. So he would go out and steal radios and electronic devices of any kind, and basically anything he could grab on to make easy money and make ends meet. That was until he was 18 years old. Damn, this story is off to a good start, huh? Yeah. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good today. Are you ready for this incredible story? Before we start, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment down below. Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's a good Chino's Bazaar. Back with a new video, with a new concept, testing a new genre of videos, and hopefully you like it. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. So at the age of 18 years old, Tomic went to the army, and he was very skilled at one specific thing, which is climbing. He was one of their top climbers. And a few years later, he left the army and he started thinking of what he's going to be doing next. So he started to combine two of his favorite things to do, which is stealing and climbing. So he would start scouting the whole city of Paris for what to do, what to rob, what's the best opportunity for him. And he mostly concentrated on the richest neighborhoods. He thought he would start stealing from the richest people for many reasons. And he thought that these kind of people were the most pretentious people he could ever see, to the point where money doesn't have any value to them. And the only way they know how to enjoy their life is by spending a lot of money on stuff like Ferraris and expensive items. So he figured, why not steal from them? And that's when he started to figure out something essential in the city of Paris. The higher you go, the less security people have. So he would climb all the way to the roofs with no protection, no help whatsoever. And from that, he'll start jumping from roof to roof, from building to building, locating what's the best opportunity for him. And when he gets his opportunity, when he sees an open door balcony or a window, and when he can see that he can get in, that's it. He gets into the luxurious apartments. He gets in the apartments when the owners are still in. That way, he makes sure that the security alarms in the place are not on because the owners are in. So he walks super slow and doesn't make a sound. His motto is to never hurt anybody while he's robbing them. And everything he hopes for is that they don't catch him in the act, which didn't happen, of course. So he would take all the jewelry and everything he can find and get out without hurting anybody. And when he would hit the jackpot and make a lot of money, he would spend it all on entertainment, women, alcohol, and drugs. Hey, easy money should be spent quick and easy. After some time, rich people started to invest into paintings more. So he started to get interested in them as well and study them to the point where he would appreciate them as well. One time, he gets into an apartment and finds 3 Renoirs worth around $12 million in total. But, of course, when he sold them, this caused him to go to jail because he got caught. And his face was on all the news platforms at the time, and they were calling him the French Spider-Man because of his amazing abilities. Then between 1994 and 2005, he was going in and out of jail. And every time he would steal again and again and again, he's always stolen from the rich, and he never regretted it. He started to get some respect in the industry, and even the police respected his work. A few years later, he became the biggest burglar in Paris. In April 2010, he was working with an antiques dealer called Prowess, and that year he gave him a list of antiques he wanted him to steal and 40 names on them. After that, our friend Tomic decided to go around the city and see where the paintings might be located. Then throughout his research, he found out that a lot of the pieces on his list were in the Museum of Modern Arts in Paris, which is one of the biggest museums of modern and contemporary art in Europe. So he goes back to Prowess and tells him what he found. And then Prowess told him that for every painting he might bring him, it's gonna be $50,000 each. And that's all he needed to know. Tomic goes on his way, scouts the museum for a few nights, and figures how the security officers work and how every 2 hours they go around to kind of check on everything in the museum. And that's when he found his opportunity. So he went to the window, and so he figured as well that the security system with some of the cameras were faulty, so he had a chance. So he figured that he can go through from the window by unhooking some of the screws on the windows and get the window out so that he can get in the museum at night. So every night for 6 nights in a row, he would come to the museum, hide himself in a black sheet so that no one sees what he's actually doing, and he would unhook the screws on the window. And at the night number 6, he decided it was time. So he took the window out, got in the museum, and he started on stealing. And at first, he sees the Fernand Léger. He picks it up, brings it outside next to a wall where no one can pretty much see the painting, and then goes back in. Then he picks up the Matisse, the Pastoral, and he took also a Picasso and a Braque. So he took all of them, went outside, and then went again for a 3rd time. This time he went to the 3rd floor, and that's where he found the Modigliani. And at that point, as soon as he picked it up, he heard a noise, probably from a security officer. So he kind of got scared and took off with the Modigliani. So he went outside with all 5 paintings, took off the frames, went and put the paintings in his car. So he started driving, he sees a police checkpoint, and they tell him to keep on going. So he keeps on going, and then since it was still 5 o'clock in the morning, he decided to actually park and wait for traffic around like 7 or 8 o'clock. So he just parked, went into the back of his car, and just started on getting mesmerized with all the paintings he just stole. After that, after traffic started, he went on his way and went to meet Prowess in a parking lot. And as soon as he met Prowess, he gave him the paintings, and Prowess told him that he will get his money in a few days. Throughout the whole burglary, Tomic didn't leave a trace, didn't leave nothing behind him that can trace back to him. So the police had no way of really finding out that it was actually him. And a few days later, Tomic goes to see Prowess for the money. Prowess tells him that he only has 40,000 on him at the moment, and he decided to give him that already. And he told him that the rest of his money, meaning the $210,000, were coming his way in a few days still. So he decided to take the money, and he went on his way, partied, living like crazy, going to the best restaurants, and partying like no tomorrow. And in a few months, he's already spent all the money. So he had to go get the rest of the money from Prowess, and he decided to go to his shop. But at that point, he was being followed by some police officers that just wanted to check on him and see if the French Spider-Man is not up to no good again. So they saw him go into Prowess's shop. And they started asking themselves, like, why those 2 people are actually connected. So they saw him get in contact with Mr. Jean-Michel Prowess, the antiques dealer. Corvez told him that the money is coming, but in the meantime he can take care of other robberies and other heists. And with no choice left, he decided to take on a few jobs he had for him. At that point, the police started to investigate the both of them because it's weird that Tomic and Corvez had a relationship, knowing that Corvez was living a very bourgeois kind of life where he had a big house, big cars, a lot of cars, and a lot of properties in general. So it was kind of just weird for those two to have a relationship. And after more investigating, they also found a third person in the group, and this person was called Jonathan Byrne. And after figuring that all three of them were connected, they started to dig even deeper. So one night, they followed Tomic all over the city, hoping to catch him in the act. But he was kind of hard to trace, but they still made it. And on Avenue Montaigne, he started scouting, and he started to climb up a few buildings and a few roofs to kind of find his opportunity. And that's where he sees a very luxurious apartment that he already robbed in the past, and he saw his opportunity. A window opened that he got through, and in that apartment he was able to steal a lot. He was able to steal a Metzinger, a Pissarro, a galleon, and some jewelry and a few watches. Everything that he took that night was literally worth around like $2 million. Then he gets back to his car, he puts the stuff in his trunk, and he started on driving back to his home. But the thing that he didn't notice is that he was literally being tracked by the cops that were literally behind him. So as soon as he started driving, they were driving on him, and as soon as he pulls up to his house, the cops pull him over and find out what he's got in the trunk, which means everything that he's stolen. Tomic was very calm, and he told them exactly what he stole, where he stole it from, who he stole it from, at what time, and how. And at that point, even the police started to show him respect because he literally gave them everything they needed. And at that point, they arrest everybody in the chain. They get Tomic, they get Corvez, they get Jonathan, and they started investigating them. But as soon as they started to investigate, Tomic actually decided to tell everything. And so, because he didn't get paid the amount of $200,000 that he still owed to Corvez, he decided to spill everything. He told the police officers that it was him who actually pulled on the heist of the 5 masterpieces. And after he said what he said, they started to investigate way more onto Mr. Corvez and Mr. Jonathan, to the point where now they know that the last person to have seen the paintings is Mr. Jonathan Byrne. And guess what he did with the paintings? He says that in a moment of craziness and pure anxiousness, he took the paintings and destroyed them and threw them in the trash, which no one can prove and no one believes because it is impossible. Like, why would somebody even do something like that? So the paintings go missing, and all 3 of them goes to jail. Jonathan for 6 years, Corvez for 7, and Mr. Tomic for 8 years in the prison of Fresnes. After a few years, Tomic gets out of prison. He is 55 years old and still can climb buildings, and is still looking to rebuild himself into a better man. Masterpieces worth $100 million are still missing, but the hope of getting them back one day is alive because it's impossible to have destroyed them. They are hidden somewhere, I am sure, and they will turn up one day in the future. This was the story of VJERAN Tomic, the French Spider-Man and the biggest heist in the modern art world. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, to the channel. It will make my day. Thank you for watching. Johnny!